Hey, welcome to another lesson. I hope you had some time to play with last week's techniques and chords. We were looking at the A chord and we did some review on the C shape. Well, I guess it was the G shape chord that we did, and then we did some review on the C shape chord. Let's get right into it. This week's chord shape is E, and again, it's movable. That's what we love about these things is once you learn them, you can just slide up and down the neck and you got yourself some pretty tasty little treats that you can use. And as we move along, we'll be able to see how we can combine them, but we're not going to do that right now. We're just messing with the E shape today. Now, so to play E, you cover on the top string, on the D string, 2nd fret, and that is the E note. So this is one of the notes, there's 2 on this one, that tells you what chord you're playing. The top string note, the E in this case, 2nd fret, tells you the name of the chord. And then we play 1st fret on the G string, and then for the E, we play open B and open E. So the bottom string, the top string and the bottom string are both naming notes, meaning whatever note you're playing when you're playing this chord form, that's the chord you're playing. Notice I have my finger barred here again. I don't need to. Whenever I play this one, I usually try to use my 2nd and 3rd fingers because it gives me the ability to not have to move these fingers position-wise, and I can just slide up and down. And plus it makes it easy when I want to go to a different chord shape that I'm already going to have this bar finger, my index finger, ready to go. But let's just talk this through. We're playing E. And now remember, E and F are right next to each other. So you slide up 1 fret. And now we're playing F. And remember, the top string and the bottom string notes are naming the chord. This is an 3rd fret, top string, D string is an F note. 1st fret, E string is an F note. That's an F. Slide up 2 to G. Slide up 2 to A. This one, let's just do this little strum while we're doing it. Thumb, thumb down, up. Thumb down, up. So that's A. That's on the 5th fret with our barring finger. 2. That's a B, just to keep you in track here. D string, we're playing the 9th fret. G string, we're playing the 8th fret. And then we're playing the 7th fret with the 2 bottom, the B and the E. Slide up 1 to C. B and C are right next to each other. That doesn't ever change. Slide up 2 to D. And then slide up 2 to E, and I lose space here. I can just, that's kind of where I run out of room there, but that would be E. So we went from E all the way to E. Using the same chord form. We haven't moved our finger position on the strings. We're just sliding up and down the neck. So that makes it easy. That's our E shape. Okay, now, if we go back to the G shape, remember G is open on the top 3, and then covering that G fret on the 3rd fret, bottom string, E string. That's G. Slide up 2 to A. Boom, thumb. And And then you'd slide up 2 to B, and then 1 to C, just like we learned last week. If you're not familiar with that G chord shape, go back to last week's lesson and you'll get it. Okay, so let's talk about a little progression using just the E shape that we learned. And we're going to play in, let's do G. The 3 major chords that you'll play in the key of G are G, which would be barring on the 3rd fret, C, which is barring on the 8th fret. Is that right? Yes. 5, 7, 8. And then D, barring on the 10th fret. So let's do our thumb down, up. Now we're going to go to a C. Change right now. Back to G. Change right now. Now we hung out there for a while, almost went to sleep. Going to go to D. Change right now. That went to the 10th fret. Now we're going to go back to C. Change right now. Now we're going to go back to G. Okay, that's a nice little progression. G to C to D, back to G. That's in the key of G. Now the cool thing about this whole way of playing your chords and being able to move is if you know how to play it in G, and say somebody wanted to play the same song but play it in the key of F, well now you'd be playing in F, which would be barring the 1st, B flat, which would be barring the 6th, and C, which would be barring the 8th. So you just move everything up 2 frets and you'd be now playing in the key of F. Gonna go to B flat. Gonna go back to F. Just doing it real fast so you can hear. Then to C. To B flat. Back to F. Beautiful. And if you were playing in the key of A, we started in, I'm just demonstrating, just to get it in your head so you understand what this is unlocking for you. Remember, G was barring the 3rd. Well, if we want to play it in A, which would be barring the 5th, we would just move the whole works down. It would be A, D, and E. Now that E is a tough one for me to get because it's down here on the 12th, but it would be barring on the 5th, barring on the 10th, and barring on the 12th. So A would be barring the 5th, 10th would be D barring the 10th, and E would be barring the 12th. And I'm going to go to D, 10th fret, back to A, 5th fret, and then 12th, E, back to 10, that's D, and then to A. So you could play all kinds of songs just playing that one chord shape, and instead of having to just play up here. Now, what's the benefit of that? Well, we used the C shape last week to show you some little riffy stuff that you could do. Let's go back just for review so we keep it fresh in our heads and go back to the G shape. And we're going to play, now in the key of A. So, and I'm doing this purposefully so that it gets your mind thinking about these different shapes all within the same time frame, because you're going to use them all three when you start playing songs later on. So I'm doing it on purpose, and it could be kind of freaking you out a little bit. That's okay. So A, as you remember, is barring the top three on the 2nd fret, and then covering the A note on the 5th fret on the E string, the bottom string. Now there's a pattern that you can play, a little lead pattern that you can play based off of this. And what it is, and I'll just give you the fret numbers starting at the bottom E. You would play 5, 2, and then going up to the B string, 5, 2, and then going to the G string, you would play 4, 2, and then the top D string, 4, 2. Now remember, your anchor notes for this chord, the A chord here, is on the 2nd string, the G string, because that 2nd fret is A, and then the bottom string, the E string, that 5th fret is A. So you have 2 A's right there, and those are your anchor notes. Some say root notes, same thing. Tree has a root, ship has an anchor. So it's the 2nd string and the G and the E string that name the chord. So when you do little riffs, you kind of, if you're going to stay in that chord, you kind of want to land on one of those two. Now let me just give you an illustration and a little exercise to do. So we're going to do the same strum. We'll simplify it even more. Where you go, thumb, down, up, thumb. Good. Now what I'm going to do in between to break the monotony of this is I'm going to start on the G string, and I'm going to play 2, 4 fret-wise, 2, 4, and then down to the B string, 2, 5, and then go back to 2 on the B string, 4 on the G string, and then back to that A note on the G string. Isn't that nice? So you got yourself a nice little riff that you can play, a little solo piece in there, instead of just having to strum along. And if you were playing a song with somebody, you know, and they're A, do, 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 do. See what that opens up is, instead of just strumming along, which is fine, when you start writing your own tunes or you're playing with somebody, it gives you a little freedom to just kind of play around, and you know you're not going to hit a wrong note because you're staying within that pattern form that I taught you just a minute ago. Okay, so this is the G chord shape, and this is the pattern we use off of it. And the way that I remember, let me come up close. I hope I'm getting this. So there's my A chord. So I'm playing 5, 2, 5, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2. And there's our root is on the 2nd fret there on the G string. Now, what's really neat about this, and I just think of it this way, is this is forming a little box for me. This finger is forming the boundary for this riff, and so is this pinky. And so I play here, here, here on the bottom 2 strings. I skip 2 frets in between from here to here, here to here, and then on the top 2, I'm only skipping the 1 fret in between. And I end on that A. Okay, so what does this mean for me in the big picture? It means that if I wanted to play this same chord in, say, B, which would be slide everything, because 2, you got to skip 1 between A and B, so that would put that on the 4th fret. And of course, this note down here on the 7th E fret is B. So now I'm playing the B chord, but I have that little pattern right there under my fingers still. You see, and I'm just playing backwards from there, from the E. And if I wanted to play it in C, I would just move up 1 fret. Now I'm playing the C chord, and that pattern is just tagging along with me. It's just along for the ride. It's right there. So I hope this helps you to see what this is opening up to you is you're learning how to play chords, but you're also learning how to have right at your disposal some room to do some fun little licks. And as long as you're playing that pattern in the key, in the chord you're playing, if you're in A and you play that, you just play around with it. You can do it in any order you want, and it's going to be in key, and it's going to sound good. So you don't have to just make it where you're going from high to low. You can do and do whatever you want. So get a strum going. Play whatever you want. That sounded bad. That's okay. See, there's a lot of stuff that you can do there, and hopefully it'll open up your mind and it'll start bringing maybe some words to mind, and you could start writing a tune of your own. And we'll get into progressions more as we move along. Okay, I think that's quite a bit. Let me give you one little neat thing you can do with your chords. Now, we've learned how to play C's. Cool thing, let's not get into it. Let's just we'll stick with our G. Okay, so we'll play G, which is the new E shape, but barring at the 3rd fret. And remember the G string, the top string, and the bottom string, name this one. So top string, 5th fret is a G note, 3rd fret, bottom string is a G note, and that's what names the chord. Here's a neat little thing you can do to add something instead of just strumming. And what I do is there's no strumming, it's more finger picking stuff, but not really finger picking, it's kind of hybrid. Let me come close again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit with my thumb, and then I'm going to use my 2 fingers. I'm not going to play the bottom string at all. I'm going to use my 2 fingers to pluck the D and the B string. So thumb, pluck, what I'm doing is you hear it muted. Now this is something to work on, something to strive for. As soon as I pluck, I lift my fingers so they're deadened. And then I keep them lifted when I'm doing the double thumb again on the top string. So it's just this nice muted sound. And then I let that second pluck sustain on the next two. But you don't have to. You can. That sounds nice too. That's got a nice groove to it. So start playing with that. You can move up to A. And it breaks you off a little bit from just strumming all the time. Let me know in the comments if there's something that you're struggling with, whether it be strumming, finger picking, whatever it is. Now, we're learning a lot here in pushing a lot of information together. And the reason we're doing it is to get over this hump. It's almost like a boot camp. And if we can get you over this initial hump, and I know a lot of it is chording and trying to get your hands to do, please do what I want you to do. And that'll come with time, but you have to be patient with yourself. You have to be disciplined, and you have to be regular with it. Don't give up. There's got to be millions of instruments sitting in the corner from somebody that wanted to learn how to play an instrument. They start playing, it's hard, it's uncomfortable, it's no fun, and so the thing just ends up collecting dust. Don't let this hard stuff in the beginning deter you, because you could end up just making some great music if you can just get over this hump. So I'm giving you a whole bunch of stuff to think about so that you can try doing different things, and you're not just you're not just sitting here for an hour just trying to figure out a strum, because that's pretty mind-numbing and you would lose interest. This way you can work on different things. You can work on your pattern. You can work on this funky little, and you can work on your strumming and the E shape and the G straight, and you can do that same funky using the G shape, so it moves around using the C shape. So you can it works on all of them. Okay, so now if we do a quick think back, you have a nice pattern using the G shape. You have a nice pattern using the C shape that we learned last week. So go back and look at that one too. And if you have any questions, be sure to hit me up. I also have a Facebook page called Baritone, and you can get on there and you can ask me questions too if you'd like. That's a lot. That's a lot for a week, and I think it's time to move on. I'm going to do a couple shorts and add those in, maybe some quick exercises to help strumming come along quicker. But that's good. Have a good week, and keep practicing, keep playing, enjoy yourself, and see you next time.